Hi fashion lovers, you're welcome to another interesting video. Today's tutorial is going to be on how to sew this sleeveless notched collar double-breasted jacket, just like what you're seeing on the screen. So in the previous video, we learned how to draft it, and the drafting part was so easy to comprehend, and this is going to be the sewing part, and is going to be very easy and detailed. So if you have not watched the drafting video, I will advise you to go watch it before watching this one. So if you're new here, you're highly welcome. This is So Star with GP. Kindly subscribe and turn on the notification bell. And to all my subscribers, thank you guys for subscribing. Let's get started. To get started, these are the fabric I'm going to be making use of: an African print fabric and a crepe fabric. The African print is going to be the main bodies, and the crepe is going to be the lining for the double-breasted part. So these are my pattern that we drafted in the previous video. This is the center front, as you can see. So all the patterns are going to be cut into two pieces. So you go ahead and add half-inch sewing allowance all around, following my finger. So you're going to add half-inch all around like this, and on the hem you can add your hemming allowance. So on this side, you're going to also add your half-inch sewing allowance. This is the side seam for the front. You're also going to add on the hem, and on this side you are going to add your side seam sewing allowance, which can be 1 inch or 2 inches. So for this center front, I'm going to be using the crepe fabric to cut the lining part, and the other part I'm going to use a normal lining to cut it. So the reason is because the the lining part is a part that will be folded out. So you don't want to use the normal lining, you want to make use of a crepe fabric. So these parts will be cut into two pieces, and you're going to add half-inch sewing allowance all around. And also on the hem part, you can use any hemming allowance you want. Also on this part, you are going to have add half-inch, and on the side seam you can add 1, 2 or 3 inches depending on the side seam you want to use. As you can see, I'm done adding my sewing allowance. Did you see? So I've gone ahead to cut out the fabric and the lining. You can see on the side seam here I added 1.5 inches as my sewing allowance. On the hem parts, the main fabric has 2.5 inches. I don't know, I guess my camera cut off that side. On the fabric has 2.5 inches, while the lining has only half-inch as the hemming allowance. So the lining is shorter by the main fabric by 2 inches. So you want to go ahead and notch all the sides. This is going to help you when you're going to join the waistline, the hip line, even the bust point line. So this is what I have for this part. You can see I've added all my half-inch. So this is what I mean. My fabric has like 2.5 inches hemming allowance, while the lining has half-inch hemming allowance. So I've gone ahead to add all my necessary sewing allowance. So for this part, the fabric that I use for lining is a crepe fabric, not the normal lining. So I use a crepe fabric for only this part, because this is the part that the collar will be folded out. So you want a very thick fabric to be used for that part and not a lining. I'm going to show you how to sew this. So you can go ahead and notched every part. Did you see? You can also go ahead and fold in like this on the lining. You can fold in this part so that by the time you are joining, when you are done joining, you'll be able to know how to fold everything. So this is what I have. This is the crepe fabric now, and other parts are normal lining, but this side is a crepe fabric. So you can use also your normal Ankara for that part as well. So this is the front part. We are going to like open it up to add it. So this is a center front part. So and this is the side seam front. So you want to join the center front and the side seam together. You want to do that on the waist, on the hip. That is why it is necessary for you to notch everywhere. So you are going to go ahead and sew the princess seam line for the first part, and you're also going to do the same for the second part. So this is the back part, and I'll go ahead and notch every necessary point that will help me. so I won't make mistake while joining them. So this is the center back. So this is the side seam for the back. It has the fabric and the lining cut out. So you want to go ahead and remove the linings. And then the center back is going to be joined like this. You're going to join on the center back to form one piece. So you want to go ahead and hold it on the notched point, making sure everything aligns together. So you're going to work with your pins like to guide you. So after joining the center back, then you want to go ahead and join the side seam like to one side. You want to fix it right side facing each other, and then you want to match it up on the waistline, on the hip line, and then you want to go ahead and also join that part. You also want to do the same for the other side. So we are going to be having 4 pieces all together for the back part. We're going to be having 4 pieces. For the front, we also have 4 pieces, but two pieces differently for the front. So you go ahead and sew all this on your sewing machine. So when I'm done sewing the back, this is what I'm going to have. Did you see that? This is what I have for the back part. You can see I'm done sewing it. I have 4 pieces for each. So I'm going to bring in the front part and I'm going to join it on the side seam of one side of the back. Did you see? You want to go ahead, use your pin, and then you bring the other second part of the front and you're going to join it on the other side seam. First of all, you're going to sew on the 2 shoulders and then you proceed in sewing the side seam of the 2 sides. So for the collar, I'm going to be cutting this. I'm going to cut on fold. This part is going to be on fold, and I'm going to add ½ inch sewing allowance to other parts. So but this straight part is going to be on fold. Add ½ inch to other parts. So this part is going to be on fold. So I've gone ahead to cut it out. I've cut out with Ankara and the crepe fabric. So the lining of this is crepe fabric, not the normal lining, because we're going to fold it out and I want the crepe to show and not the normal lining. So you want to notch on that point that is going to be on the shoulder, the point that is going to be attached to the shoulder. So you want to go ahead and notch it on this part. So you're also going to add an interfacing to the lining part, which in my case I use crepe. So I forgot to mention that for this side, I used an interfacing for it. So for the crepe part of the lining, I used an interfacing for it. So these are all the linings. Did you see? This is the back. Did you see that? It does not have interfacing, but the crepe side, which is the collar side, that the lapel side, has an interfacing. That is the double-breasted side, has an interfacing, and because it's going to be a collar, so you need that stability. So that is why I added an interfacing to that part. So you want to go ahead and join on the 2 sides and then sew on the 2 sides and also sew on the shoulder for the back, for the lining. Now the same way you sewed for the Ankara dress is the same way you're going to sew for the lining. So when I was done, this is what I have. This is the lining. Did you see that? I've gone ahead to sew the lining, join the sides, and this is the collar part. Did you see? So I'm going to go ahead and attach the collar. So to attach the collar, the lining side, which I use crepe in my case for the collar, is going to be attached to the lining side. So you want to go ahead and notch, place it on the notched parts now. So you're going to put it in such a way that the notched part is going to meet the shoulder, because we notched the collar on the shoulder part. So you want to make sure the shoulder matches up with the notch, and then you want to use your pin and pin this down. So you also want to go ahead and pin this part. So this part is a bit tricky, so you need to use pin to hold it, and you're going to sew it following that curve. And you want to make sure you stop on that notch you made on your fabric, that notch, that 1.5 inches that we came up for the lapel. So you want to stop it on that notch. So you need to notch that part on your fabric while cutting the fabric, so that by the time you're going to join the collar, you will know exactly where to stop. So after joining, you want to go ahead and cut that. So for the main fabric, I have done that already. I have attached my collar to the main fabric. Did you see? Just the way I showed you how to do that with using the lining part is still the same thing I did for the fabric. So you want to go ahead and notch. Did you see what I'm doing? Cut, notch, but don't cut through the seam. Just notch very close to the seam, but don't cut through the seam. So when you have done that, you also want to do the same for the lining. So this is what I have. I've done the same for the lining. So you want to go ahead and match up your lining matching the collar. You want to use your pin and hold it down. So you want to go ahead and sew. Following the way my finger is going, you want to go ahead and sew. So when I was done sewing, this is what I have. You want to go ahead and notch these parts and cut out every pointy edge. Did you see that? Then you also want to take your fabric down to the down part. You know that the lining is 2 inches shorter than the fabric, but you have to bring the fabric down to meet you have to bring the lining down to meet with the fabric. Did you see? And you begin to match it up, making sure the seams on the fabric aligns with the seams on the lining. So this is very, very easy. So you want to bring it down, and then you want to use your pin and hold it down. So when you are done, you go ahead and sew it by 1/2 inch, which is the seam you have on the lining. You sew by 1/2 inch. Once you are done sewing that part, you want to bring your fabric up to meet up with the lining. Did you see? And then you hold it. So you want to go ahead and match the lining and the fabric on the points you notched. And by the time you are done, this is what you are going to have. The fabric is going to come up. Did you see? So that was the essence of having the lining shorter than the fabric. So I'm a bit fast here because the video is becoming so long for a sewing video. So you also want to do the same. So this is me trying to kind of do it in a way you understand it. Did you see what I'm doing? So you want to make sure everything matches up. For the fabric is going to come up a bit, so it will match up with the lining. So when I was done, this is what I have. So did you see? I have sewn the side seams, the down part, the side seam. Did you see? So you want to go ahead and turn it to the right side using the armhole side. From the armhole side, you're going to turn it to the right side, and you try to bring out all the points, especially for the collar. Bring out all the pointy edges and bring them out to the right side. So this is what I have. Did you see? So I'm trying to fold it at this point. Because of the type of fabric I use, I needed to iron this very, very well. I needed to iron it so that you can, like I said earlier, you can iron the collar on the lining, so that by the time you are done, you will know how to fold it. So I've gone ahead to iron. You can see this is so fine, and I went ahead to use a bias tape to close up the neck, the armhole region. I used a bias tape. Unfortunately, I didn't see my black bias, but I used the white one, and it came out beautifully. Did you see how everything went? Everything is so fine. So now it is time to fix the buttons. So for the buttons now, you want to, from this point now, you want to come down by 1 inch, and then from there you want to go inward by half inch. This is on the left part now. You want to attach the button. So from where the collar stops, you want to come down by 1 inch. Did you see? And then from that point, you go inward by 5 inches. Did you see? The double-breasted was 5 inches. You don't want to use more than that. So I came down again by 5 inches and went inward by 5 inches. I'm going to attach my second button to that, and then you also want to come down again by 5 inches, and then from that 5 inches go inward by 5 inches. So for me, I want this jacket to have only 3 buttons, and that is what I'm going to do. So this is on the right side. So for the left side, this is where the buttonhole is going to be. You come down again by 1 inch. Did you see that? And that is where you're going to open your buttonhole from the right now. And then you also want to come down by 5 inches and mark the second buttonhole is going to be that on that place. So you also want to go down by 5 inches and mark. So that is where the third buttonhole is going to be. So that is how you're going to put your buttonhole. Did you see that? Did you see? So you also want to come from that point and go inward by 5 inches. So the reason is to attach another button. You know, double-breasted usually have like two different buttons like on the both sides. So you're going to attach the button like that. I hope you understood what I did here very clearly. If not, you can rewatch this part just to be clear of what I said. So the buttonhole is on the right, and the buttons are on the left. So after I was done, this is what I have. This is so beautiful and perfect. Trust me, this came out so beautiful. So trust me, you can do this. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to give me a like and share this video if you have gotten value from it. See you in my next video. Bye.